Hello, I'm Rebecca, the founder of triiyo, and welcome to Pep Talks with triiyo. triiyo is the leading solution for workplaces to support their people during every life transition, from starting a family to retiring and every life event in between. On Pep Talks with triiyo, we chat to our expert partners for advice on how to best navigate these common, complex, and often messy life stages that happen during our working career. Keep listening as we connect the dots between life and work with the simple aim of education and empowerment. After all, life happens at work. Today on Pep Talks with triiyo, we're speaking with Emma Egan, Managing Partner of Sterling HR, the leading HR recruitment agency in Australia. We're going to be discussing the current challenges HR leaders are facing regarding wellness, psychological safety, talent attraction, engagement, and retention. And Emma will be exploring how triiyo impacts these areas too. Emma, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me back.
So
I'm excited to talk today because this is the stuff we talk about all the time.
I know, this is all the big things. So could you just kick off and tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do at Sterling?
Sure. So I've now been in HR recruitment for nearly 18 years and obviously speak to leaders and all the time, and a lot of things that have come up over the past, especially the past few years, have been very challenging. And one thing that we always look for is experts to be able to help people through these challenging times. One thing, or a number one challenge facing human resources leaders today is supporting employee mental health. And coming off the back of a worldwide pandemic, lockdowns, homeschooling, working from home and hybrid work, there's been so much change going on. So that job of the human resources professional has been profoundly difficult. And it's not just because of the constant change, it's actually managing the health of the organisation. So their jobs have evolved from looking after employees' life cycles and then also managing their emotions and helping them through those challenging times. Yes. I think that being able to, for you to be able to explore today or elaborate on how triiyo can help, I think will be amazing, because there's so many different ways that HR professionals can use it to support their employees and their workforce.
Okay, incredible. Well, let's have a look at sort of break down some of these key issues. Like you say, you talk to HR leaders every day, all day. So we're really at the cold face of, the challenges that they're facing. And I know from the conversations we have that they are hugely under-resourced at the moment, which means, they absolutely do need solutions, support their people. And it's great to see that the elevation of HR within organizations, because, we always sort of say, people are the backbone, to your business. They are your biggest asset, but also your greatest cost. So the, more well and healthy and more productive, engaged they are, does actually have a direct impact on the bottom line. So in terms of...
It does. And, there's so much, sorry to interject there. I think that it's important to understand too that as HR professionals, there's so many solutions being thrown at them from a technology standpoint as well. And it's about understanding which technologies will work best for them and how they will actually make an impact at the end of the day.
Yes. So the tech overwhelm concept is very real for HR people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We can delve there too. So if we take one of the sort of biggest topics then for HR, would you say that's the sort of mental health and mental well-being of their people?
Yeah, I think it's like it'd be awesome to understand how triiyo can work to improve employee wellness and psychological safety.
Okay, so from a psychological safety perspective, when we did all of our research, what we found out was that individuals, employees don't trust, they don't want to access the internet, because for all of these life at work events, from hire to retire, whether you're looking at parental leave, whether it's mental health, whether it's sort of long-term sickness such as cancer, all of these life transitions that occur are often perceived to be career limiting. And in many cases, they have been in the past. So there is a lack of trust about seeking support and information on the intranet. That's what came out through our research. So we have purposely, and that sort of is because people feel that they're being monitored. So there might be some resources and policies and information available, there is a reluctance to access that information. So we made a very conscious decision at the beginning of our development and journey to be an external platform. And that was specifically to create a psychologically safe and private and confidential space, which is employee centric. So where employees go, and it is designed for employees. So yes, we do host organisations, policies and procedures on there, but it's employees sign up. All employees have access to the platform, and all of the information within the organisation is hosted on there. So we encourage organisations to put humans at the centre of their decision making and their people strategy, as opposed to just sort of, well, from an organizational perspective, we're going to put all of the information on the intranet, and we're going to put front and center our policies. Well, at one point an individual will need the policy, but that's only sort of once. Outside of that, how else can organizations support their people through these life at work events? So we are an external platform for that reason, first and foremost.
I think it's so important, as much as people like to think that the lines have been blurred between home life and work life, and a lot of people are talking about how everything's become more personal until you're actually going through something that is life-changing. I don't think that you can actually imagine what that's like. So having it as an external platform is so much more, it's private, but it's personal at the same time, because your employer, it shows that your employer actually cares about what you're going through without being in it.
That's right. And they're providing a transparent, open place, and they're actively saying, we care for you, and here is a confidential space you can go and seek support. So they're very transparent in the way that they're supporting their people without their people feeling that they're being monitored. And an organisation really doesn't know what their people are going through until the very last minute. And at that point, we're really too late. Particularly when you look at mental health, we want early intervention. We want to be able to get to our people at the very earliest of stages to let them know that there is support available. We have tools and resources, and to take action at the at the earliest point. And I think the other thing that we try to address is, you don't know what you don't know. With most of these life events, and every time it happens for the first time, whether you're having a baby, whether it's a mental health challenge, or obviously, if it's a long-term sickness, or if you're retiring, you don't know what you don't know. So you don't know actually what you need to be researching or looking at. So the way our platform's built is it delivers personalised and tailored information to the individual. All of the journeys when they sign up are delivered in real time based on that individual's personal dates. So the experiences that we provide are highly unique and very personalised to each individual. And I think that's particularly important, not just because we're dealing with sort of life transitions, but we want to get that engagement, and we want to feel that the employee is empowered within these life transitions. And if we can support people early enough, we may be able to truncate the duration of time they're off, for example, on mental health leave, and even reduce the severity of some of the experiences that people have because they've managed to get intervention or support early on. In addition to that, it's changing the narrative within an organization. So we talk about how do we change the culture and how do we embed a diverse and inclusive environment to our organizations. Well, one of the, this will be one of the ways that we are transparently and openly saying we support you. So that's, there's lots of things here that we are looking to do and are doing with triiyo, and it is really pulling on, first and foremost, creating that psychologically safe space where people can get intervention and support at the earliest stage.
That's excellent. And then how do you think that impacts on employee retention?
Well, we believe it has a huge impact. One of our longest running clients is Fujifilm. And if we take our parental leave journey as an example, we support employees before, during, and after leave. And if an employee is takes a year off, we also support them for the 12 months post return. So on an average parental leave journey, we're supporting somebody for around 2.5 years. So for us to get data around our outcomes and retention, it takes quite some time. And what we found when we did our initial research is that organizations would measure return rate, but they wouldn't measure the long-term retention. And some of the statistics out there show just with the women alone, a 30% drop off post-return from parental leave. So within the first 12 months, 30% of women would be leaving the workforce. And that was because of a lack of connection, lack of communication, really bad reintegration within the workplace. So that transition back was really fraught with problems, which is why we provide 12 months of support post-return. Now, with Fujifilm, we've been able to see 100% retention and retention post 12 months return. So that's a huge impact for them as an organization, which they do have a big gender equity process. They do want to increase the number of women within their organization. So both from an attraction perspective, but also an engagement and retention. As you know, my background's recruitment as well. It's very costly to hire. And it's even more costly to lose great people. So the current climate, it is very hard to find and acquire great talent. But when you've gone through that extensive process, you really need to be focused on keeping them engaged and retaining them through all life stages.
Yes. Yeah, I love that. And so, on the other side, how do you think triiyo can help with talent attraction? And what do you think are some of the key features that potential employees might be drawn to?
Well, the statistics and all of the narratives sort of suggest that employers are looking for more than salary these days. And you would know this more so than me, being that you talk to both employees, candidates, and, and recruit and clients on a daily basis. But my understanding is people want more than just a salary package. They're looking for flexibility. They're looking for an employer who cares, that is going to support them through the ups and downs of life. And I think the one thing over the last 3 years that has really become evident is the need for human connection is paramount. The feeling isolated has massive impacts on mental health. Employee wellbeing has huge impacts on the bottom line. Stress and burnout has huge impacts on our people and performance. And all of this impacts profitability of companies. And at no point, in that, employee life cycle is that more profound than when somebody's going through any form of life transition or life event. So my thought process is that for organizations that do have triiyo, they are taking a step up in terms of being competitive, because they are openly saying, when life happens at work, we are here to support you. And I think that's a really significant narrative that is very different from sort of the historical way that people feel that they have been treated through these life events. And when we look at the life events that are going to happen from the moment we start with a business to the moment we retire, many of these human conditions are unavoidable, and they can happen to anyone at any time, at any point in the trajectory, upward trajectory of your career. So, whether you're in the C-suite or below, no one is immune to life conditions. So to me, it is critical, and it makes a fundamental commercial decision to support people through the inevitable events that will happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And like thinking about those unique challenges, and you said before, and it's so true that people are looking for more than salary. Recently, we did some research and spoke to a few hundred people actually around what they were looking for when they were moving a role, and what were the top three things. The top came in at flexibility at 60%. And then 30% was learning and development, and then last on the list was salary.
Yeah.
So I think like thinking about that and looking at that flexibility, how does triiyo and like look at those unique challenges when they're looking after remote or hybrid teams? Because flexibility is here to stay and people will be working remotely. Yeah. So how does triiyo help when it comes to wellness and that psych safety and engagement piece?
Yeah. So great question, because obviously, like I said, when we don't just support people when they're on a journey or on a leave period, an extended leave period related to a life transition. We support them before and after. And so two ways that we would support that. The first would be, we have over 100 expert partners that provide content on our platform, in our resource library, for everything related to every life event at work. So whether that's menopause, retirement, we have financial education, every piece of the puzzle is covered on our platform. So it sort of goes back to the you don't know what you don't know. So we have a huge range of information to support people, particularly from a wellbeing perspective, as they go through or approaching or maybe going through life transitions. But the other key piece, which is so fundamental since the pandemic, is that ability to connect. Many people are missing the water cooler moments, the chatting to the person on the front desk or the cafe. We are very much more isolated in the way that we work on a day-to-day basis with, the hybrid work and remote working. So what we've done is created community channels. And this is the ways for people to connect within the organisation, not just during life transitions, but at any point we can bring together like-minded people into community groups. And the reason why that's important, that it's on the platform, not just on an intranet, is because when people are on leave, many organisations that we work with, those people lose access to the intranet, or their emails are cut off. So they lose access. And secondly, if you're on a period of leave, you don't always want to have your work inbox open or your Slack channel open and have the noise of the day-to-day work, but you do want to curate the connections that you have, and connect with people differently. So our community channels are there to bring like-minded people together, whether that's across mental wellness, whether it's well-being, whether it's parents, pride groups. It really doesn't matter. It's whatever is going on within that organization. They are initiated by the employees to bring groups of people together. And that really helps drive social capital within this hybrid and remote way of working, which is the future of working. But we do need to find ways to create social capital and drive human connection, because that has such a positive impact on people's well-being and their sense of belonging.
Absolutely. And talking about belonging, because obviously diversity, equity and inclusion is really important and should be towards the top of the list for any human resources professional and business. how does Triiyo ensure that the platform is accessible and inclusive for all employees, regardless of their backgrounds or needs?
Yeah. So our platform, it's web-based, it's mobile enabled. We have a AA accessibility rating. And all of the content on there covers all manner, it is fully inclusive for anyone within an organization. So that is something that we do focus on. And also we have journeys that cover every life event at work. So we are really supporting organizations to be inclusive in, with all of their employees through every life phase. So, we did start off as a parental leave platform, and we were asked by our clients to expand our support beyond just, parents. So that's, we really are a connectivity hub that is driving inclusion within the workplace, that drives a sense of belonging, because people can find other people that are like them within organizations. We help our community channels help break down silos which naturally exist within organizations. And we're also changing the narrative around and making it very open and transparent about the conversations and the transitions that organizations support. So, we drive that sense of diversity because we're encouraging organizations to openly support people. And the other thing that we do is, when employees commence their journeys, they have the option of adding in their manager. What we found out from our research is managers don't intend to be to not engage with people when they're on leave, or to be discriminatory in any way, shape or form. They're just untrained and unsupported. So the more that we can hold the hand of the manager and guide them through these journeys, the better the experience of the employee, the more inclusive an environment the organization will be creating, the better the manager will be performing, because we are supporting them in terms of their capability, but also we are retaining employees within the organization that are potentially going through life phases which are attached to sort of diversity. So our parental leave journey is talks to all parents. We actually don't ask gender at all, on the basis that we want to encourage all parents to take leave and provide the support mechanisms for all parents to return to work, particularly on a flexible basis, to increase the conversations around mental health. You are right, the rates of mental health are increasing rapidly. So how do we support people, and how do we open up the conversations? Statistics show that women, are diagnosed with depression at far higher rates than men, but men are suiciding at far higher rates than women. So there is a disconnect there. And a lot of that is around opening up the conversation, and men having the psychological safety, that feeling safe and able to trust and seek support at the most earliest stages. So by having the space that encourages conversation, where you can find like-minded people within an organization that says, we will support you, I believe will start to change the narrative, change the stereotype, support behavior and culture change within an organization. And that's really what we're trying to do in terms of delivering outcomes for diversity, inclusion, belonging.
I love that. And how do you think, or what advice would you give to organisations considering the implementation of Triiyo to improve their workplace culture and then attract and retain that top talent?
Well, my advice would be to start today. We have a plug and play solution which can be live within an organisation within a matter of days. They don't need to customise the full platform. That can come later. I would say, all of our workflows are ready made. They're ready to go. we are very quick because we are an external platform. We are very quick to deploy. We do not integrate with existing HR systems, so we don't need to get IT involved. My advice would be start today. Let us tell you what is going on with your people, and then customize and configure based on the actual real-time data. It is very quick to start. We do it all for you. It is a done-for-you service. So there really is no barrier for people to get started and then to learn about what is happening in real time, on the platform floor, if you like, on the ground, and let us inform them, as opposed to them assuming that they know and then implementing tools and resources that they think their people need. If you implement triiyo, we encompass every single life event, and we can actually let you know what is actually going on, and therefore where it's your best place to place those resources moving forward.
So, yes, it is an external platform, and that data that comes through obviously doesn't show who's accessing it, but what they're accessing. Is that right?
Yes. So we can inform organisations potentially of problems they're not even aware of. We will inform them of, what type of data or resources people are accessing, therefore what are the concerns within their workforce. And then the organisation can really use that data to create tailored wellbeing programs and additional employee support mechanisms that are really relevant to what is going on in real life for their people. Not what they perceive. So yes, we don't use names, but we absolutely do report back with insights on what's going on in the real world.
It's like an addition to the pulse check and the engagement survey.
That's right. We are one of those mechanisms that really give HR people a pulse on what is happening. So then they can really divert their resources, which I fully understand are limited, into the places that are absolutely needed.
And how on that? So how does triiyo measure success, and what metrics are used to evaluate the platform's impact?
Yeah, so we look at adoption and engagement. We look at active users. We look at number of journeys started and completed. We look at engagement and open rates within the journey, both for employees and managers. We look at the volume of resources and volume of conversations that are happening on the platform. We take a sort of a holistic look at really what is happening, and then report back based on that.
So we've talked a lot about employees accessing it. I don't know, like managers are employees, but I want to think about it from a manager's perspective. And when you're looking at leadership development, how does it support managers to be better managers?
Yeah, we basically augment manager leader capability through a service. So traditionally, organisations will put leaders on ad hoc training courses, and then that person's meant to remember all of that data and information that they learned at that one training session, and maybe a year down the line, they then need to action it. We turn that on its head, and we deliver bite-sized training and actionable reminders and outreach in real time at the point that they need it. So our support and training occurs in real time, in the moment, based on the employee that they're supporting and where they are in their journey. So we believe it's because it's bite-sized, it's much more manageable. We don't take managers off the shop floor, as it were, to do bigger training sessions at times where they may not need it. We deliver them and hold their hand through these multitude of challenges that their employees maybe or their team members might be going through, and it's very difficult to expect a single manager to be deeply experienced in how to support people through this whole host of life events, and we're also seeing employees being moved into management positions potentially before they're ready, because there is a lack of talent available. But then when people are in those positions, how do we really support them to be great managers? We say we make managers look like superstars, and that's because we hold their hands through these challenging periods. And these challenging periods are common, yet they're highly complex. And many of them have legislation attached to it and regulations attached to it, which, if managers get that wrong, have massive impacts to the organisation. And like I said before, I don't believe managers intend to do things wrong. It's just they are untrained and unsupported, which is where we step in. We support them in real time at the moment that they need to know that information based on the individual, their team members' dates. So that's how we manage our peers.
I love that. So it really does leave room for P&C to have a greater impact on the broader organisation.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Without, we are looking to remove a lot of work and manual tasks and administration duties away from HR, and we automate it through the platform. And in doing so, we also give the manager the resources that they can manage effectively without them also having to go to HR all the time. Obviously, at times that will be needed. But, for the most part, we're able to hold the hand of the manager through these, moments that matter, or these life phases that inevitably occur.
Yeah, because we were actually asked a question not that long ago from a leader about how to start or to open a conversation about, if you notice somebody is having a challenging time, how do you open that conversation? Mm-hmm. And I think that would help greatly.
Absolutely. So we actually have a resource available both on our platform and on our website, and I can post it in the comments section below. But we have a mental health guide, and for managers, and within that we have a high risk call script, because one of our clients did actually have a phase where a team member was within the business was having suicidal ideation, and they really didn't know how to manage that. So we have, with our mental health partner, we work with consultant experts to create all of our journeys, which is why they are ready-made, and pre-populated, ready to go. It's important for us that we have tools and resources on the platform that helps managers and employees, and obviously managers are also employees, on the platform through these really hard periods, because they do need support. It's impossible to expect all of your management to really know and be experienced across this. They're not psychologists, they're not coaches, but provide them with the tools that they can at least take the first piece of action with confidence and know, where do we go next?
Yeah. And so you could be saving lives, not just increasing engagement.
Potentially. I mean, the statistics for mental health are shocking at the moment. And I think one of the biggest first steps with all of this is to increase the conversation around it, and to create the safe spaces where people can have the conversation. And that is fundamental.
Absolutely. I think that it's a bit of a no-brainer, and it's something that they can try, right? So, because, it's customized, it's an amazing platform, it's ready to go. You don't have to go through all of the palaver with IT. It's easy to access. Mm-hmm. I think that, staying in touch and looking after employees is just, it's just such a big plus to any organisation. Mental health, menopause, retirement, divorce, parental leave, carers leave. And, like a lot of businesses do have an EAP, but that's something that might sit on the internet. So people are scared to use it because they don't know whether or not it's going to be reported back to their employer. Yeah. And the investment in a tool like triiyo shows that you really do care about your employees. not from just a data perspective, but because you really want them to thrive.
Yeah, we do, we do encourage uptake and usage of EAP through our platform, and any other tools or support resources that organisations have. We place them on our platform so that people have access to them whilst they're on leave. So, yeah, you're right. And the other thing that is worth noting is that we don't just work with enterprises. We have a solution that is suitable from small businesses, 50 headcount upwards. We have solutions for not-for-profit, all the way through to large enterprises who may want to fully customize their own platform. But typically we encourage organizations to just go live and then learn and then configure post go live.
Yep.
So yeah, it's very quick and easy. For me, it is a bit of a no-brainer, and I would probably I'm completely biased, obviously.
Well, sounds like it.
We want to help people. And when you go through that list, it's kind of like, you kind of in your head are going, tick that box, tick that box.
Yep.
These things happen. They're out of our control. And certainly just because the life event has happened doesn't mean my job is any less, or my career is any less important to me. It's just a phase. It will pass. And how can an organisation support those people through these life phases, which will pass?
Yes, I think that's the most important thing. It's that communication, and it's a communication tool, and it's that support.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, thanks, Beck. I don't think I've got any more questions for you.
Thank you. Well, it's not often that I get sort of challenged and asked questions around, these big HR challenges. So thank you for turning the tables and asking me all of these questions. It has been great talking to you, and thank you for being, one of our supportive partners as well. It's we can't wait to continue working and supporting people in all sizes of organizations. So it's been great. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you.
Oh, thank you. I love it. I love our conversations.
Thank you, Emma.
Thank you, Beck, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Pep Talks with triiyo. Emma's contact details will be in the comments for anyone who wants to connect with her. Thank you so much, Emma, for taking the time to talk to me, and we'll speak again soon.